Mahalo everyone, and welcome to another deck video here on the Jolly Scarecrows channel. Today I'm presenting a Water Dragon deck for Master Duel. There's a few changes relative to the trading card game deck, and if you want to see that video, that'll be coming on the channel in the near future. The first thing I guess to say about this deck is that Water Dragon itself isn't very good. We'll see it here. It can negate the effect of Pyro Monsters. It's much loved, fans of the GX series, but actually in terms of winning with it, it's not that brilliant. The newest addition to Water Dragon decks are things like this Water Dragon Cluster. Now this is okay. You can basically prevent your opponent's monsters from activating their effects and reduce their attack to 0. And the thinking behind this deck was basically to attempt to do this maybe to your turn 4 or turn 6, in around that area, and basically then tribute the Water Dragon Cluster once it's used its effect to summon out the Water Dragons to attack the game. And otherwise we're running a Dinosaur deck, and that's because the materials to make Water Dragon Cluster, which are Deuteron and Oxygeddon, are dinosaurs. So it kind of makes sense for the deck, plus the dinosaur strategy allows you to basically play a whole bunch of other really neat monsters. They're good in their own right, and they get rid of a lot of the cards from your deck to the graveyard, which is exactly what we need to use the effect of Deuterion, because that lets you special summon one of those targets back. You need 2 copies of Deuterion and 1 copy of Oxygeddon to play the bonding D2O. In this deck we're not running the trap, and we're not running bonding H2O either. We're simply focusing on these because in terms of fitting the dinosaurs into a 40-card deck, this is the most consistent way of bringing out the Water Dragon Cluster, and also being able to survive long enough to bring it out, because you are running some fantastic dinosaur cards. We can run only 2 copies of Oviraptor because that's what's in the Master Duel limit, but we can run more copies of Miscellaneousaurus, and I'm quite happy about that ratio because of how good Miscellaneousaurus is. So how the dinosaurs work is they basically attempt to destroy the baby dinosaurs to then bring out the larger, more evil dinosaurs. And the way they destroy themselves is often with this Archosaur, a beautiful card in terms of artwork, and this lets you destroy any dinosaur in your hand or base up on the field when it's normal or special summoned, and then you can add an equivalent reptile, whatever, at the same level as the destroyed monster, or the evolution pill, and that's always what you'll be going for in this deck. So when you summon Archosaur, if you happen to have either the Petty Pterodon or the Baby Ceratosaurus in your hand, you can destroy them and get the Ultra Evolution Pill, double Evolution Pill. You get a special summon depending upon which one of these. This is for level 4 or higher, and this is for level 4 or lower. That in itself is all well and good, but you also have Soul Eating Oviraptor. So this lets you take a dinosaur monster and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard, and then you can target a dinosaur and destroy it. To special summon another one from your graveyard in defense position, these effects aren't once per turn, so you can keep bringing out dinosaurs depending on what you have. Miscellaneousaurus, as I said before, fantastic card. You can either discard it to prevent your dinosaur monsters being affected by your opponent's cards, and then you can banish it from the graveyard to special summon a dinosaur from your deck with equal level to those banished. And so it's really easy to either bring out your level 1 Archosaur if you have a Petty Pterodon or a Baby Ceratosaurus around, banish it, just the Miscellaneousaurus, you can bring out the Archosaur, destroy, and then you get a special summon up, and you can start all of your combos going from there. Giant Rex is a good extender. When it's banished, you get a special summon it straight back, and often you'll have maybe a spare Oviraptor on the field. You can then bring out the Giant Rex, and that lets you go into maybe something like Lagia or Abyss Dweller, depending on what you're playing. Or Exeter Knight if you happen to want a field wipe, maybe you're going second, so that's also really useful. And from this play, thanks to the effect of Archosaur, you've searched the double evolution pill. This lets you banish a dinosaur from your hand or graveyard. Big Giant Rex again. and then you can get a non-dinosaur, and we're running a fair few of those. We're running things like Cypherane and Gamma, we'll go to Y, and in a pinch you can even go for the water dragons themselves, because most of the time you won't see to play, you will win or lose before the situation arises. And that lets you special summon either Pancratops if you want to negate on the field, or the Ultimate Conductor Tyranno if you want to try and blast your opponent's monsters out of them. And so you can quickly build up, I don't know, you can easily get 2 negates with Pancratops and Lagia, or you can go in with a counterattack with Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, which is be protected by a discard Miscellaneousaurus. Fossil Dig is a fantastic card running in 3, allows you to basically search for most of the good searches in the deck, and eventually the idea is that you will use these things like Babycerosaurus and Oviraptor to get rid of 1 copy of Oxygid onto the graveyard, and then you can summon and use copies of Deuteron to bring it back. That will allow you to use Bonding D2O to bring out the Water Dragon Cluster. Other cards to consider. So Foolish is obviously great in this deck. You probably could run another copy of Called by the Grave, because we can run 2 in Master Duel, though to be honest I wouldn't know what to replace it for. You could potentially actually get rid of these True King cards. We're running both of them. This is a field spell that lets you destroy a card on the field, so it can often be handy just to get a free bit of destruction off. That lets you search for this other True King, which lets you do more destruction of your own cards. So depending on how many Petty Pterodons or Babycerosauruses you have, you can just summon a whole raft of your dinosaurs straight from the deck and proceed to knock your opponent out from there. The main field spell you'll be wanting, though, is this Lost World. It runs all sorts of different abilities, so it lowers your opponent's monster attack and defense, but its main play is that when you summon a dinosaur, you get to give your opponent a little token, and if at any point if a normal monster on the field will be destroyed by battle card effect, you can instead destroy dinosaurs from the deck. So obviously in this deck, destroying dinosaurs from the deck equates to summoning more out. So often with your first attack, you'll just go for the token to allow you to bring out, I don't know, something like an Oviraptor or a Giant Rex. And that's the reason why for our hand trap we're running 3 copies of Gamma and 1 of Driver, because that gives you a free normal monster, and you could potentially proc Lost World with that. And with this in mind, obviously we've got 2-star Tuner here. We're running Chaos Ruler, Borrowed Savage. We're running kind of general level 8 synchros, as well as Dingrisu, because actually, you do get level 8s out a fair amount. Actually, to be honest, Dingrisu is often the play you'd want to do with the 2 Water Dragons, but don't tell Bastion that. Big thing to point out is that Link, Rebo, and Secure Gardener are often some of the best ways of getting rid of a rogue Archosaur. Sometimes it can be left out there, unable to be destroyed, and you'd rather that not be the case. So that's why those 2 are in here, and we're running kind of general nightmares, and that's a kind of simple Link package otherwise. Right, I think that's all for this deck. I hope you enjoy playing it. Dinosaurs seeming to be doing quite well in Master Duel, so you can add a little twist with it with Water Dragon here if you so choose. And yeah, for me this is probably one of the best ways of playing Water Dragon, compared to even the pure builds which will brick readily and just get swamped over. This gives you a bit of competitive play as well as that meme factor. Yeah, see you for the other decks which will be coming out on the channel in the not too distant future. Say no.